The night Alexandra came home early, she didn't just lose her marriage, she discovered a betrayal happening inside her own house. Alexandra Caldwell had not inherited her success. She had seized it with unrelenting determination in the ruthless arena of big pharma. At 36, she held the position of Senior Vice President of Global Marketing at Apex Pharmaceuticals, headquartered in the pulsing heart of Chicago's Loop. Her role demanded a punishing rhythm: dawn departures for strategy sessions dissecting competitor campaigns, marathon presentations where she dismantled objections with razor-sharp data and charisma, and high-stakes investor roadshows in New York that often secured 9-figure commitments before the lunch break. She jetted frequently to Los Angeles for glossy celebrity endorsement meetings and influencer activations at sleek rooftop venues, endured emergency overnights in Boston when clinical trial data threatened to derail multi-million-dollar launches, and occasionally crossed time zones for international stakeholder summits. Evenings blurred into nights spent in anonymous hotel suites overlooking glittering skylines, her laptop glowing as she fielded urgent Slack threads about key opinion leader engagements, market positioning tweaks, and crisis communications. Sleep was a rare commodity. Her phone remained an ever-present extension of her ambition, buzzing with alerts even at 3 a.m. Colleagues admired her stamina in hushed tones during coffee breaks. Rivals respected, and feared, her instinctive ability to turn potential failures into blockbuster successes. Alexandra channeled every ounce of pressure into building an empire that not only advanced her career, but also funded the beautiful life she and her husband had once envisioned together. Matthew Caldwell, her husband of 9 years, had once been the warm, creative counterpoint to her driven intensity. At 38, he still possessed the tall, athletic build and easy, boyish smile that had first captivated her during their initial date at a cozy, candlelit cafe in Wicker Park. Back then, Matt was an emerging graphic designer whose bold tech brand identities and sleek ad campaigns had earned him regional awards and features in industry publications. He spoke with genuine passion about creativity, work-life balance, and a shared future filled with weekend escapes to Door County, lazy beach days along Lake Michigan, and eventual plans for a family. Alexandra had fallen deeply for that optimistic vision, believing their complementary energies would create something lasting and balanced. But time and circumstance had eroded that foundation slowly, like relentless wind wearing down limestone. 2 years earlier, Matt's largest client, a promising fintech startup, had declared sudden bankruptcy, leaving him without a steady pipeline of work. His dedicated home office on the second floor of their historic greystone, equipped with a large monitor, pressure-sensitive drawing tablet, ergonomic chair, and soft adjustable mood lighting, gradually transformed from a hub of inspiration into a quiet monument to stalled potential. Most days now involved scrolling through archived portfolio pieces with diminishing enthusiasm, half-hearted LinkedIn updates that went unanswered, extended sessions binge-watching sports or documentaries on the finished basement's plush home theater, frequent takeout orders, and the slow accumulation of a quiet, festering resentment. Every polished detail in their luxurious home served as a painful reminder that his contributions had become peripheral, while Alexandra's escalating salary, performance bonuses, and generous stock options carried the entire financial load. The guilt and sense of emasculation simmered beneath surface-level politeness, transforming their once vibrant marriage into a series of transactional exchanges focused on logistics, schedules, and weary small talk. Their home stood as a breathtaking embodiment of Chicago's architectural heritage, blended seamlessly with modern luxury. A fully restored 4-story greystone constructed around 1905 on a serene tree-lined street in prime Lincoln Park, just blocks from the expansive lakefront paths, the bustling Lincoln Park Zoo, and vibrant neighborhood boutiques and cafes. The street facing Fide featured the signature light gray Bedford limestone, quarried from southern Indiana, clad in smooth and rusticated cuts for visual depth and sculptural elegance, with classical trim, ornate cornices, and a wide stone stoop leading to a welcoming front porch on one side. A dramatic full-width projecting bay window dominated the other side of the east wall, flooding the interior with abundant natural light and offering glimpses of the heavily treed streetscape. The sides and rear transitioned to more practical, cost-efficient brick construction, allowing better airflow and light penetration through additional projecting bows typical of Chicago greystones on their narrow 25 by 125-foot lots. Inside, soaring 12-foot ceilings with intricate plaster moldings and original millwork created an airy, timeless sense of grandeur. Hand-scraped bleached walnut hardwood floors gleamed throughout, complemented by period fireplaces with detailed mantels, original pocket doors with brass hardware, cast-iron radiators, and a grand central staircase that served as a dramatic focal point spanning all levels. Alexandra had personally overseen the sensitive renovation to honor the home's historic character while incorporating contemporary comforts. A show-stopping chef's kitchen centered around a massive 14-foot Calacatta marble island ideal for casual meals or elaborate entertaining, featuring high-end wolf range, sub-zero refrigeration, custom cabinetry, and oversized windows that bathed the space in light. A temperature-controlled wine cellar in the basement housed an impressive collection of rare vintages. The finished lower level included a plush home theater with reclining leather seats and surround sound, a private gym with mirrored walls and state-of-the-art equipment, and a spacious recreation lounge. Upstairs bedrooms offered generous proportions, with the lavish primary suite featuring an ensuite spa-like bathroom complete, with a deep soaking tub and rain shower. The crown jewel remained the private rooftop deck, providing sweeping panoramic views of Lake Michigan's shimmering blue waters and the iconic Chicago skyline, perfect for summer evenings with a glass of wine or quiet morning coffees. Yet, despite its undeniable beauty and thoughtful design, the greystone increasingly felt cavernous and echoing with unspoken disappointments and emotional distance. Alexandra's routine was relentless. She typically slipped out before dawn in tailored blazers and heels, AirPods already engaged in back-to-back conference calls discussing coal strategies, competitive positioning, and upcoming launch timelines. She returned well after midnight on most evenings, her suitcase wheels whispering softly across the herringbone-patterned hardwood in the grand foyer, carrying the faint sense of airport terminals, hotel shampoo, and recycled cabin air. Matt would have something simple reheated and plated on the marble island, occasionally elevated with fine china from their collection, and ask the same diminishingly enthusiastic question: how was the trip? She would offer a tired productive before retreating upstairs to her third-floor home office, where she would continue working amid stacks of reports until exhaustion finally claimed her in uneasy sleep. Their physical intimacy had dwindled into infrequent mechanical encounters that left both partners feeling more isolated than fulfilled. Conversations rarely ventured beyond bills, travel schedules, and surface-level updates, avoiding deeper vulnerabilities or shared dreams. The tipping point arrived when Alexandra missed their anniversary entirely, trapped in a grueling Tokyo video conference that extended late into the night due to time zone differences and technical glitches. Matt sat alone at the expansive marble island with a half-empty bottle of Cabernet, staring at an untouched gourmet meal he had ordered from a highly recommended local spot, the bitterness and loneliness in his chest solidifying like unset concrete. The quiet unraveling gained momentum after that missed milestone. Matt found himself pouring scotch earlier in the afternoons, the amber liquid offering temporary numbness against his deepening sense of irrelevance and failure. He stopped aggressively pursuing new freelance clients, rationalizing that the market had grown too saturated and competitive. When Alexandra's sharp and efficient assistant, during one of her rare in-person visits to drop off documents, noticed the accumulating disarray in the sprawling home amid Alexandra's punishing travel and gently suggested hiring reliable live-in help to maintain order. Alexandra, drained from yet another cancelled weekend and mounting exhaustion, finally relented. The discreet job posting circulated carefully within exclusive professional networks, catering to high-net-worth households, seeking a reliable, discreet live-in housekeeper for an upscale Lincoln Park Greystone residence. Must demonstrate excellence in healthy gourmet cooking with international flavors and clean eating focus, deep cleaning, laundry, organization, and upholding absolute privacy at all times. Private suite featuring ensuite bathroom and small kitchenette located above the detached rear garage. Very generous salary, full benefits package, and paid time off provided. Gabriela Morales arrived on a biting cold, overcast Tuesday morning in early January, her single modest suitcase in hand, and an aura of quiet, resilient dignity surrounding her like a subtle shield. At 27, Gabriela was petite with warm olive skin, thick dark wavy hair that she kept neatly braided during work hours, and large expressive brown eyes. Born and raised in a modest town outside Guadalajara, Mexico, she had navigated her path to Chicago with remarkable grit and determination. Her English was fluent and polished, carrying only a soft melodic accent. References from previous positions in upscale Chicago households were exceptionally glowing. Alexandra conducted a focused yet thorough interview over freshly brewed coffee at the Marble Island, impressed by Gabriela's composed demeanor, thoughtful responses, and evident attention to detail, and decided to hire her on the spot. Gabriela settled promptly into the comfortable private suite above the detached garage. She wasted no time making her presence felt positively throughout the home. Within days, the greystone sparkled with renewed care. The hand-scraped walnut floors shone with fresh polishing. Linens carried a faint lavender scent from careful laundering. Intricate millwork and plaster moldings were dusted to pristine condition. Pocket doors glided smoothly on restored. Hardware and meals were elevated to near-restaurant quality. One evening she prepared seared sesame-crusted ahi tuna paired with a vibrant quinoa salad, roasted asparagus drizzled with a light citrus vinaigrette, and subtle herb accents. The next, she simmered a rich, authentic mole poblano with complex layers of spices, chocolate undertones, and fresh, handmade tortillas that filled the entire chef's kitchen with warm, inviting, comforting aromas. She approached every task with quiet dignity and efficiency, never overstepping personal boundaries or engaging in unnecessary conversation. Initially, Matt offered little beyond polite nods, brief thank yous when Gabriela served dinner at the island, and occasional comments on the improved meals. He remained largely absorbed in his own internal stagnation and screen time routines. However, as Alexandra's already demanding travel schedule intensified, now routinely stretching to 5, 6, or even 7 nights away per week for critical pitches, troubleshooting crises and product launches, the vast historic Greystone gradually transformed into an intimate, quietly charged private domain inhabited primarily by Matt and Gabriela. The first undeniable spark of connection flared during a ferocious Chicago blizzard in late January, one of those legendary storms that blanketed the city in heavy snow, turned streets into silent white corridors, and tested the resilience of even the sturdiest limestone facades. Alexandra found herself stranded at New York's JFK Airport after a major investor pitch was abruptly postponed due to severe weather grounding flights across the entire Northeast Corridor. Back in Lincoln Park, thick snow accumulated heavily on the Greystone's limestone cornice and stone stoop. Fierce winds howled through the projecting bay windows, and the power flickered dramatically, before failing completely for several long, dark, isolating hours as temperatures plunged. Matt paced restlessly through the shadowed living room and parlor areas, his irritation and profound aching loneliness churning internally like the blizzard raging outside against the brick sides and rear of the home. Gabriella emerged quietly and thoughtfully from her garage suite, carrying a silver tray she had prepared with care. Thick, homemade Mexican hot chocolate made by simmering whole milk with unsweetened cocoa powder, granulated sugar, ground cinnamon, a touch of vanilla extract, a subtle hint of chili powder for gentle warmth and depth, and finely chopped bittersweet chocolate melted in to create a rich, frothy elixir that chased away the bone-deep chill. She accompanied it with fresh churros she had fried from simple pantry staples, golden, crispy exterior giving way to soft interiors, generously dusted with cinnamon sugar. They found themselves settling together on the plush area rug in front of the gas fireplace in the main living room, wrapped snugly in luxurious cashmere throws as multiple candles flickered softly, casting dancing shadows across the intricate plaster moldings, gleaming walnut floors, and detailed fireplace mantel. For several hours, amid the cozy, intimate glow and the distant muffled howl of the wind battering the bay windows in limestone fade, they engaged in surprisingly open and vulnerable conversation. Matt found himself pouring out long-buried truths he had rarely articulated even to himself, the slow fading of his design dreams, the awards now gathering dust on a distant shelf, and the corrosive daily resentment of watching his wife ascend corporate heights while he felt increasingly invisible, emasculated, and uncomfortably trapped within the very comforts her success provided. Gabriella listened with genuine, non-judgmental empathy, sharing carefully chosen fragments of her own arduous personal journey north, the persistent homesickness she worked hard to bury each day, the cultural and emotional adjustments of immigrant life, the ongoing pressure of financial support for family back home, and the subtle, isolating ache of performing essential work within such opulent surroundings, while often feeling fundamentally unseen, temporary, or peripheral. When the power finally surged back on near midnight, restoring warm light to the grand rooms, original millwork, and polished floors, neither of them made an immediate or eager move to separate and return to their respective spaces. The air between them remained thick with a dangerous, unspoken electricity and newfound emotional intimacy that lingered palpably long after Gabriella quietly returned to her suite. That single storm-bound night acted as the decisive crack that opened long-building floodgates. In the subsequent weeks, the slow, intoxicating, and increasingly secretive descent unfolded with mounting intensity and careful discretion. Matt began inventing frequent, seemingly casual excuses to linger in the expansive, light-filled gourmet kitchen during Gabriella's meal preparation hours. He would roll up his sleeves to help chop fresh herbs, vegetables, garlic, or onions at the massive marble island, their hands brushing repeatedly in the confined yet inviting workspace. He started making regular trips to the temperature-controlled basement wine cellar to select prized bottles, pouring her small tasting glasses under the pretext of getting an honest second opinion as a way to naturally extend their time together into longer conversations. The emotional connection between them grew stronger with each passing day. The emotional affair blossomed rapidly and deeply into something far more profound and risky than either had initially anticipated. Late-night conversations following dinner cleanup frequently stretched well into the early morning hours, often migrating to the comfortable seating by the period fireplace in the parlor or, on milder evenings, to the private rooftop deck where city lights twinkled distantly below. Matt confessed raw vulnerabilities he had never fully voiced to Alexandra. Gabriella, in turn, opened up about the quiet loneliness inherent in her role. These increasingly intimate exchanges naturally evolved into tentative, yet charged physical touches. The building tension eventually crossed an irreversible threshold. As the weeks progressed into a charged new routine, marked by secrecy, and heightened awareness, the full physical betrayal ignited with sudden, explosive, and unrestrained force on a stormy mid-March night. Alexandra's red-eye flight from Los Angeles had been unexpectedly delayed until morning due to a mechanical issue at LAX. What she saw next shattered everything. Alexandra's Uber finally pulled up to the familiar limestone stoop and stone steps at 7:25 a.m. the following morning. She dragged her heavy-rolling suitcase wearily across the herringbone-patterned hardwood of the grand foyer, bone-tired from the disrupted travel schedule yet mentally wired from endless airport coffee and unresolved work stress. The entire greystone carried a heavy, unmistakable, lingering atmosphere. The faint, signature scent of Gabriella's jasmine body lotion intertwined inseparably with the unmistakable musk of a recent intimate moment, and the heavier undercurrent of guilt. Downstairs in the main living areas, Gabriella was already methodically vacuuming the plush rugs and walnut floors with her usual practiced composure and efficiency, though her cheeks remained unnaturally flushed. Upstairs, Matt lingered noticeably longer than usual in the master shower, humming an old favorite song, with an unexpected, almost contented lightness threading through his voice. Alexandra felt the brutal truth slam into her like a visceral gut punch to the solar plexus, knocking the air from her lungs. The subtle, accumulating signs she had subconsciously registered and deliberately tried to dismiss or rationalize over the recent weeks all crystallized horrifically into undeniable, crystal-clear reality in that frozen, heart-stopping moment. Rather than allowing herself an immediate explosive confrontation, Alexandra deliberately chose calculated silence, strategic composure, and the methodical gathering of irrefutable proof. For 6 excruciating, soul-crushing, and psychologically torturous days, she maintained the flawless, high-powered exterior of the composed, ambitious wife and executive she had always projected to the world, while privately reviewing the security camera footage. Each viewing revealed a shocking depth of raw need, genuine emotional intimacy, and overwhelming emotions that Matt had not demonstrated toward Alexandra in years. The pain proved visceral and physically crushing. She canceled several important high-level client calls and meetings, blaming severe migraines, while enduring tense, surface-level dinners at the Marble Island, her heart fracturing further, as she observed Matt and Gabriella exchanging secret, loaded glances across the table. The psychological tension coiled tighter and more unbearably with every passing hour and day. Alexandra barely slept during those 6 days, her mind replaying cherished flashbacks from their happier early marriage years in cruel contrast. On the 7th night, Alexandra deliberately orchestrated her return home much earlier than usual. She moved through the house like a vengeful, silent ghost and pushed open the master bedroom door. What she saw next shattered everything. Alexandra's hand trembled violently as she reached out and flipped on every single light fixture in the master suite at once. The elegant chandelier, all recessed lighting, and bedside lamps blazed instantly to harsh, unforgiving, clinical brightness. Gabriella let out a sharp, blood-curdling scream of pure terror and scrambled backward off Matt in frantic, desperate panic. Matt jerked upright violently on the bed, blinking rapidly and disoriented against the sudden, blinding glare, his face draining instantly of all color as cold, crushing reality slammed down upon him like a physical weight. Alexandra's voice finally emerged, low, raw, trembling with barely suppressed volcanic fury, yet eerily controlled and commanding. "Get out, both of you. Now?" Matt stammered desperately, his voice cracking painfully with panic, overwhelming shame, and fading attempts at denial. "Alex, baby, please, this isn't what it looks like. It just happened. I was weak. You're gone constantly for work. I felt so fucking alone and worthless for years, like I was slowly disappearing in my own life, and in this house." Alexandra took a slow, deliberate, menacing step forward deeper. Into the brightly lit room, her eyes blazing with a terrifying, potent fusion of ice-cold precision and white-hot, uncontainable rage. Alone? I sacrificed my sleep, my health, my youth, countless nights and weekends away from home, and years of relentless effort to build this entire life for us. I paid for every single limestone block on this fade, every hand-scraped walnut floorboard under our feet, every marble slab in that kitchen, every rare bottle down in the wine cellar, while you sat here wallowing in self-pity and allowing your talent and ambition to rot away. And this is how you repay me? By betraying me with the woman I welcomed into our home with open arms and generosity? In our marital bed? Against the island where I eat breakfast after red-eye flights? On the rooftop deck where we used to watch fireworks over the lake and talk about our future together? Gabriella was now sobbing hysterically and uncontrollably. Matt attempted shakily to stand on unsteady legs. Alexandra raised one perfectly manicured, but now visibly shaking finger, her voice dropping to a deadly, quiet, steel-edged intensity. You have exactly 10 minutes. Pack only what you can physically carry in one single bag each. Nothing more. No furniture, no art pieces, no shared memories you no longer deserve. If either of you is still inside this greystone when I come back downstairs, I will immediately call my brother, the decorated detective with the Chicago Police Department. Along with every influential contact I have built across this city, I possess hours upon hours of clear private footage of everything that has happened here. You will both be professionally, financially, socially, and personally destroyed beyond any hope of repair. Do not test me. You have 10 minutes. The following 10 minutes descended into absolute emotional chaos, raw devastation, and frantic disarray. When the heavy front door of the limestone greystone finally slammed shut with resounding, echoing finality some 25 minutes later, Alexandra collapsed heavily and exhausted onto the oversized sectional sofa in the main living room. She remained seated there alone in the vast, echoing silence of the now empty mansion for many long, agonizing hours. Hoarsely, brokenly, and with raw emotion, she whispered into the silent, luxurious greystone that now belonged solely and unequivocally to her. Blockbuster ending, you fucking bastard. The divorce proceedings that unfolded over the following weeks proved swift, merciless, emotionally nuclear, and legally decisive. Alexandra kept the historic Greystone mansion, the assets, and complete control. Gabriella disappeared almost immediately and quietly. Matt spiraled in the months that followed. Alexandra channeled the devastating pain, betrayal, and emotional wreckage into a ferocious, almost superhuman surge of professional intensity, personal reinvention, and quiet self-reclamation. Many months later, on a crisp, cold autumn evening, Alexandra sat alone and reflective in her now fully claimed and personalized third-floor home office, nursing a fresh glass of wine while gazing contemplatively out over the distant, ever-glittering Chicago skyline. The massive, historic Greystone mansion was finally, unequivocally, peacefully, and empoweringly hers alone. The deep, lingering pain and scar tissue from the betrayal still cut sharply on quiet nights, but growing steadily alongside that scar was an even deeper, more unshakable core of resilience, fierce independence, and authentic empowerment. Raising her glass slowly toward the glittering city lights, Alexandra allowed herself a small, hard-won, genuine smile. This time, the victory was hers alone.